Thanks, Lexi, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jim Sadler, the CIO at Xchanging, and I look after our group-wide IT and change activities, and also the technology solutions that we provide to customers from our insurance businesses. Today, I'd like to highlight some of the most prominent technology solutions we offer to the insurance market here at Xchanging. In doing so, I hope to demonstrate three things. Firstly, how we've been positively disrupting the London market through innovation in technology, and how we have built up a unique and very sophisticated set of platforms. Secondly, how we're now taking this capability to a new global community, and in doing so, expanding our business reach. Thirdly, one of the key unique selling points of all our market solutions is that they are community sales, which means that once they're established with a critical mass, they're extremely sticky and very difficult to penetrate by competitors. I'll also explain how we're using the very latest mobile technology to build brand new communities and new solutions to offer them. The first of three chapters in this story is about our Heartland here in London and how technology has positively disrupted this insurance market. And to explain this, unfortunately, I'm going to have to give you a quick intro lesson into how this market has worked for probably the best part of about 300 years. But I'll keep it simple. Here goes. Clients with large or complex insurance requirements seek out specialist brokers in order to buy insurance. Brokers meet with various underwriting firms, each of whom agree to underwrite a percentage of the total risk. Once the broker has secured 100%, the policy is issued, and each underwriter records that they have taken a percentage. The total premium from the client is shared between the broker, who takes a fee, and the insurers, who each share a percentage equal to the percentage of risk that they took. And when a claim is made, the lead insurer agrees the value of each claim. Each underwriter pays their percentage to the broker, who aggregates this and pays the full amount to the client. On average, each policy issued in London has 6 separate insurers, so you can imagine, with the millions of policies issued and claims paid every year, multiplied 6 times for each policy and then again for each claim, that is an enormous amount of separate transactions to keep reconciled. This was a nightmare. So around 11 years ago, Xchanging proposed and set up a common back office serving the whole market, and all firms agreed for the administration of this process to be done once at the centre, rather than individually in their own offices. This is where the story of disruption starts. Having sight of quite literally all of the paper enabled us to apply technology to that problem that no one firm would have been able to deliver by themselves. So piece by piece, we went about applying technology to the problem, building workflow software, a document store, data and message standards, and a data store of all premium trades and claims transactions, and common interfaces that all firms could plug directly into using our electronic messages or our online web portal. I'm showing you a schematic here of what this looks like. And so if you roll the clock forward 11 years, we now have a sophisticated ecosystem of technology sitting at the heart of the insurance market, which is actually unique in the whole world. And here's what it looks like. Let's just move forward a second. This is actually just an example of the systems architecture that we have. And you will, I'm sure, be familiar with the work we do in the Lloyd's market in terms of our technology services. And actually, it is this that we do for that market. But it's also a platform that is completely shared with the international companies market that also shares its place here in London. All of the Lloyd's and companies insurers license the use of this platform from us. In fact, in the Lloyd's market, it is actually mandated in order for firms to be able to trade in that market. They have to use our platform. A substantial amount of this platform is actually currently licensed for 4 more of the 5-year contract we secured in 2012. The way insurance works in London is quite unique in terms of the processes and data used by brokers as insurers. This is why, largely, to place business in the Lloyd's market, it can still only be done by locally approved brokers with local knowledge. It therefore follows that our platform is equally as unique. And there is no total software solution out there from other potential suppliers that could replicate directly what our platform does, because quite simply, there is no other market that those suppliers could sell such a solution to. It is this feature of our solution, being deeply entwined with the idiosyncrasies of the London market, that makes our platform so sticky. And to give you some idea of the scale of this platform, it currently holds 33 million documents in its repository, growing at the rate of about 6 million a year. And that's actually faster than the British Library and the US Library of Congress put together. It gets around 2 million hits per day, putting it in the top 600 global websites. It has over 8,000 registered users, and it processes over 30,000 electronic messages per day. And it records financial trades valued at over £54 billion a year in premium and claims payments. Put another way, it's a bit like having the London market's equivalent of the telephone exchange and the stock exchange put together. Our technology has changed the London insurance market forever. We sit at the very centre of the community of firms trading here. All brokers and insurers in London are connected to this in real time. And just a moment ago, I spoke about the uniqueness of the way this market processes insurance business and how this benefits us by somewhat insulating our platform from competition. Just imagine what a competitor would have to do. Not only would they have to replicate everything that we've achieved over a number of years, catching up on 11 years of work and keeping up with our ongoing pace of development while they were replicating. They would then have to persuade the whole market of 270 firms in a single event to switch overnight. Now, to a market that is by its very nature risk averse, some say that that is unthinkable. But we're not complacent. We work very closely across all stakeholders in the market to drive forward every year a modernisation and enhancement programme funded jointly by ourselves and the market. And this constantly increases the scale and function of our services. Typically, this represents around £5 to £7 million a year of development revenues from our customers on top of our 5-year deal. We have also invested in our own money in further developing and differentiating our solutions by exposing the platform and its services through modern tablet technology using our Expresso platform, which I'm going to talk about in more detail later on. This is not only a good news story for us, it's great for clients placing insurance business here. Claims in London now get paid on average 6 times faster than they did 10 years ago. So that's our London platforms, a set of technology solutions sitting at the very centre of the community, changing and disrupting a very traditional marketplace. Now, although I've talked about some of the uniqueness of London on our platform, we have identified that although the way things are done here is quite different, many of the same business needs that we have addressed for our customers here also exist in other insurance markets around the world. And those same customers have businesses in those markets. We're trading with the same people. And so we've spotted the opportunity to take what we do in London and, for want of a better word, globalise elements of the platform for wider use. We know from our experience that the obvious place to start with this is in something called net settlement of trades. And this is where I come on to my second of 3 chapters, which is about one of our newer technology solutions called Netset. This chapter explains one of the ways in which we are taking what we are known for in London to a global audience. To explain this, let me first look again at our London platforms, and I'd like to focus on this bit in the middle, which I mentioned before. I talked about the fact that we record around £54 billion of financial transactions a year on this platform. But what I didn't explain is what we actually do with this. This part of the platform actually looks at all the multiples of trades happening between the 270 odd firms, and it quite literally nets these transactions out to ensure that the money moved between customers of the platform is only the net difference between all the premiums and all the claims trades they made in and out in any given period. The benefits to this to customers, and why this is so obvious a place to start, is shown here. There's a capital efficiency benefit, a significant reduction in working capital through only moving and provisioning for net monies. There's an operational benefit, as unnecessary manual allocation and rework and error rates from keeping track of all the trades are removed. And finally, there's a control and governance benefit. Transparency gives an increased capability for risk and regulatory compliance in what is an increasingly regulated marketplace. In numbers, these benefits are compelling. From our experience in London, we believe the solution can offer around 80% improvement in capital efficiency for firms, a 50% reduction in operational costs through not having to manage the reconciliations, and 0% unreconciled items and cash. In real terms, the numbers for what we do around settlement in London confirm the story. Remember the £54 billion of premium and claims payments a year that I said we recorded? Well, instead of moving £54 billion of money, only £11 billion of money actually moved. But just let me take a moment now to explain why this is such an innovative solution, a compelling business case, and an obvious place to build a global platform from. Let's look at actually what happens on this solution here in London. You can imagine that in any day, a lot of money is owed by brokers to multiples of underwriters in premium payments, and a lot of money is owed in the other direction in claims payments. To actually pay all this money in both directions, which is actually what used to happen about once a week, is desperately inefficient. So we provide everyone with just a net calculation of what each of them are owed. And every night we arrange the movement of that money in net amount to each firm directly through the banking system. London is actually the only insurance market in the world where this happens, despite the fact that there are many other insurance markets with the same multi-way trading problems. The simple concept of netting many multiples of bidirectional payments and settling only the net difference is the backbone of our Netset product. It is a multi-party, multi-currency, netting and financial settling solution. And our aim is to capture new communities for this product, replicating the barriers to entry that I spoke about earlier as we go. Now, we actually believe that we are the only people in the world that know how to do this. And the Netset solution itself is being brought to market in cooperation with Deutsche Bank, who are responsible for the actual money movement and for providing their world-leading FX facilities. The reason we're so confident about the strength of our competitive position is that the global insurance market is settling on the use of a single global data and message standard for sharing these trades. That standard is called Accord, and we are already by far the world's largest processor of Accord messages, with well over 6 million messages per year and another 18 million of other insurance message types. We also have the benefit of first mover advantage in addition to all of the know-how. Do you know, it almost sounds unbelievable, doesn't it, that no one else has spotted this opportunity or is working on an equivalent global solution. And in some senses, I guess it is quite unbelievable that we should be the only company pushing such a product. But as I said before, it is because of our unique position here in the heart of the London ecosystem that we're able to understand this complex environment of trades and messages and see the potential benefits and the way to construct a solution. The other attraction for Netset is that the net benefit to participants increases as every new participant joins. This is because for every new joiner, it increases the total amount of trades and money that is then capable of being netted, which in turn benefits all the existing participants. This is a very important feature of the solution, that the community itself could be the mechanism to encourage new participants to drive more benefit to the entire community as a whole. I guess it's a bit like owning the telephone exchange. If you're the only person with a phone, it's no use. But if many people have phones, then the possibility to make phone calls accumulates. Eventually, if everyone has a phone and it's on your exchange, why would anyone want to connect to another exchange which has no one on it? Now, of course, we recognise that this very unique selling point I spoke about, which makes it so sticky, is actually also a challenge to roll out, in that it kind of requires everyone, or at least a reasonably sized group of companies, to all hold hands and jump in together. It is for this reason that we are now working in partnership with the Rushlicon Group, which is a group that comprises the world's top reinsurance global brokers and carriers, and we are looking to run a pilot with this group in the first half of next year. It is a group that not only represents the world's largest insurance firms, but they are actually already very comfortable in using the Accord messages and data that I spoke about earlier. What we're able to do with £54 billion of transactions in London is impressive enough, but just imagine what we could do on a global scale. The global equivalent of that number is estimated to be around $3 trillion annually. So, in the meantime, and whilst momentum for global Netset builds, we've spotted another use for the product that we didn't initially envisage. Consider the same problem of reconciling money movement in a large global firm between many legal entities and trading in different countries and currencies. Some firms have told us that keeping track of this money is incredibly difficult, and on some days they have quite literally run out of dollars. Netset inside these firms resolves these issues. And this application of Netset is what we've been piloting with RSA with some excellent results. Our benefits assumptions based on London market net settlement have been more than matched by the benefits delivered through this pilot. This has the potential to open up a second market for the Netset product inside large global or multinational firms with the same bilateral net setting issues. So that's Netset. Taking what we do in London to a global audience, capturing a new community, disrupting new markets, while still replicating the barriers to competition that all our community solutions have. So now on to the third and final chapter in the story. And this is about how we are using new technology to build brand new communities that don't currently exist, to offer new services to. In this example, the community is actually created by the technology itself. This chapter is about our new mobile Expresso platform, which is disrupting once more the London market and creating a new virtual community built around mobile technology. To explain this, I'm going to go back to the story of the London market. One of the unique features of London is the exceptional concentration of firms and underwriters in one single physical location. This is best embodied in the makeup of the Lloyd's building itself, where brokers still queue to meet underwriters at the box to offer them a percentage of new insurance business. Some people say this system has absolutely no right to exist in the modern world. But it is this very feature of London that makes it remain as the preeminent global insurance market for specialty insurance. The physical concentration breeds unrivaled expertise, and in doing so attracts both business and capital investment. Firms in London still trade face-to-face. This is how it has been for hundreds of years. In fact, the origination of the Lloyd's building itself can trace its roots back to the Lloyd's Coffee House, where insurance was first traded back in the 17th century near the Royal Exchange, which is just a stone's throw from its current location on Lime Street. This is actually how the Lloyd's market got its name. The coffee houses of London were the places where brokers and underwriters would meet. But since the 1980s, and with the introduction of desktop computing, some argue that this unique quality has been undermined by people spending more time at their desks and less time on their feet. This was where our Expresso concept started. We saw the opportunity to develop a new technology solution built on the very latest developments in mobile and tablet computing, bringing systems into people's hands and pockets rather than their desks, and in doing so, enhancing the face-to-face trading that underpins the market, rather than replacing it. And this was the idea behind the name, because with Expresso we saw the opportunity to take the market away from their desks and back to the coffee houses. So what is Expresso? Well, it's both a fast, accessible Wi-Fi network and a mobile platform that runs on iPad, into which we are able to deploy an almost limitless number of apps for people to use. I often describe it as a container, because having constructed the platform which is downloadable from the App Store, we're now able to deploy inside it very quickly new services, features and apps for people to use. We launched Expresso in February alongside the Lloyd's Chief Executive Richard Ward in the Lloyd's building itself, and in that very first release we included the first app, Claims Viewer. Claims Viewer enables any of several thousand existing users that we already have registered on our platforms to access all claims documents stored in our 33 million document repository in real time and securely on their iPad over Wi-Fi and 3G. And what I'd like to do now is show you a short video which outlines Expresso and Claims Viewer and shows it in action. And I shall attempt to explain what's going on as the video rolls. So the first thing you're going to see is us launch the app from the iPad home screen in the normal way. There it is. And you're immediately brought into the container. This is a really clean interface we've built here, and it really does require no training. On the right-hand side, that's what we call the carousel, and that's where all of the apps are stored, and we can deploy those through the network without having to go through an App Store deployment. And as you can see, it's pretty intuitive. Here we're actually launching the Claims Viewer app. The login details are exactly the same as the existing login that all of our users will have on the existing platforms. And you can see here that we've introduced the ability to associate your login with a gesture, which enables you to authenticate when you haven't even got a network. We're searching for documents. These have been brought back in real time from the 33 million document store. This is very, very similar to the way they'll search for documents on their PC. There are some governance and regulatory requirements to meet before people are allowed to see those documents. You can just see there some of the user interface features we've built in. There were some blades going in and out of the screen which allows people to access transitionary information that's not always required. If anyone is familiar with Xbox, you'll notice that that's an Xbox feature as well. And now we're downloading the document in real time. You can pause, resume, depending on your network speed. The app's network speed aware, so it knows when you're on a 3G network, when you're on a Wi-Fi network. You can control the documents that you've got stored in your library. We're now going to go and view a document. This is a very enhanced PDF viewer. Some of these documents are 20 megabytes and several hundred pages. So we've put in marker pages so that each subordinate document is marked very clearly. And you can see, you can easily scroll through and actually find the page you're looking for. The red band is a marker document. You can even just type personal notes and annotations in the same way that you would a piece of paper. Actually, on the latest version, you can just write it with your finger and it will store itself there. You don't even need to type. That's the bit I like the most. It actually feels like paper. You can actually put the page back again. Often these documents are updated regularly, sometimes every day, and so the app will actually store and download any updates to that document without the user having to do anything. So it's completely secure, completely irreversible encryption. You need the app to access the document. If you just have the native device, you can't get to the documents. So it's even more secure than paper. So that's Expresso. In fact, that was the first release of Expresso. So for the very first time, they can actually use documents on the move without having to carry around suitcases of paper. They can work with those documents locally, and they can even annotate them electronically, as you've seen. Now, I remember one of my very first experiences in this market that illustrates this point so well. It was about 20 years ago, and I happened to be in a lift with a lady who was wheeling a small suitcase behind her. Thinking that she'd been on holiday, I politely asked her whether she'd been somewhere nice. "Oh no," she replied, "this is my claims file. I'm just on my way to talk to the lead underwriter about it." That was a true story. That did happen. And of course, with Expresso, those days are gone. Since February, we've been pushing new features onto Expresso every month, including access for brokers now, as well as underwriters, live news feeds, which are completely tailorable, MI dashboards, and we will shortly go live this month with one of the largest upgrades to the platform yet, which will allow full claims adjustment and payment via the platform, with those payments going into our net settlement facility. Last week, we launched a brand new service called Expresso Oromo, which takes away the very real problem of brokers literally queuing to meet underwriters, booking available slots, and even choosing which underwriters to visit based on their profile and expertise. You can see we're very excited about Expresso, and we firmly believe that we're the only company that could offer these services because of our unique position in the marketplace. And this is because we already have the potential user base connected and authenticated onto our market platforms, with Expresso using exactly the same login credentials. So once a license fee is paid for Expresso service, the service is enabled at the next login for each individual user. We're initially using a licensing model to access some of the Expresso apps, and we already have set up a collection facility with all customers through our existing licensed solutions. You know, we're really creating new market space for ourselves here. Our ambition is to grow the Expresso platform to being the only mobile platform of choice for the London market and into a multi-million-pound business in its own right. For instance, with some of our forthcoming collaboration tools within Expresso, Oromo, we will most likely adopt a metered licensing model where the number of collaborations drives the revenue flow. There may even be opportunities for expansion of Expresso into the global arena, as I've demonstrated with Netset. So that's Expresso, using the very latest disruptive mobile technology to enhance and reinforce one of the unique aspects that makes the London market so competitive, bringing power into people's hands, creating new market space for ourselves, and with very little competition. All this to a community who we are already very comfortable with, but in doing so, creating a brand new community in our own virtual exchanging environment. So that's just a snapshot of 3 aspects of what our technology solutions provide to the insurance marketplace. Our London market platform sitting at the heart of the community and disrupting a very traditional market through technology. Netset, taking what we do in London to a global audience, capturing new communities and in doing so reinforcing the barriers to competition. Finally, Expresso, using technology to disrupt the London market once more and creating a virtual community based around the technology platform itself. We're really excited by all these opportunities and I'd like to thank you for your attention today.